Namaste, beautiful ones, lovers. How's it going? I'm back again just for a quick chat. That's it. And I have my Bali music on in the background because I'm really missing Bali because I can't be back in Bali at the moment as an Australian and all this other stuff that's going on in the world. But I have made peace with that. Because I was living there and sharing a lot of time in Bali and still coming back and forth, but spending a lot of time there, and I do miss it. But anyway, and it's quite cloudy today too. I really do miss the warmth. But it is what it is in this present moment, and I fully embrace and am in gratitude for what I have around me at this time. Now, today, what I just wanted to share a little bit about, I was sitting here having a little think and a few things popped in, and I thought, oh, I bet you there's a lot of people out there, men and women, that could go, yep, that's kind of what happened to me or how I relate with feminine energy. And I wanted to chat a little bit about the mother or grandmother or what the feminine energy in the female body as we were children growing up. And one thing I wanted to share was it's actually what I want to touch on is, yes, there's those I know that received love and felt they grew up in quote unquote normal, what's normal, but no, as people call it or label it, normal families and lives with love, with loving parents. And there's others that didn't, I'm aware of, that grow up with loving parents or that love or feeling loved. So, but what I want to share is different ways. I guess what I want to say is that we can take what we were taught from that feminine person, And I was sitting here thinking that, you know, I had a mother that was beautifully like angelic in nature. She showed love. She was around all the time. Well, not all the time. I mean, she worked full time. I grew up on part of the X generation, which was like the first generation that really stepped into having both our parents out working, whereas the generation before us, pretty much the women were home while the men was out working. So my mum was a strong female presence in my life that worked full time, and at some point she worked 3 jobs at once. So I was shown various different and taught various different ways a woman showed up, working, busy, active, supporting the family, you know, all that sort of stuff. Excuse the dog barking. Every time I start to, well, not every time, but a lot of times when I start to say powerful videos, the dog barks. Not my dog, but wherever it is, I might go days and not even hear this dog. And as soon as I start recording, the dog starts barking. Anyway, moving on. So but one thing, and I love my mother to pieces, but what I realised I wasn't shown that I really needed to be able to show up in a deep divine connection is the depth of love. My mum was all of that externally and internally, but she was very reserved. So she showed protection and love and never judged. So she showed unconditional love, allowed me to be who I was, but at the same time, she didn't show me love. So I know that sounds, people go, how can that be? That doesn't even make sense. And I will explain, and this is the part that might resonate with some of you. So my mother was not forthcoming in her affection. So I remember very early, I don't know how old I was, but I was sitting on her knee I was little and I was hugging her and I was trying to like give her affection and love, and I was kissing her all over her face, and she pushed me away and stopped me and said, "Oh, don't do that, that's silly, you don't kiss me all over the face." And she pushed me away, and in that moment she told me, it was like what I took from that story again that was embedded in my my stories and my holographic field, was that I was bad doing that. Like, I shouldn't have showed her affection, that much affection, by mucking around and kissing all her face. And and I remember there was another time I just walked up to her and I went to kiss her. I don't know whether it was kiss goodbye, kiss hello, kiss good morning, kiss good night, whatever it was. And I went to kiss her on the lips. And like, goodbye, good morning, mum, whatever. I was a young girl. And she again kind of pushed me away and said, "Oh, you don't do that. Like, kiss me on the cheek, don't kiss me on the lips." So it's kind of really interesting, because as an adult now, if I was to give, like, if she was to come and give me a kiss, hello, or whatever, she would kiss me, sort of wouldn't care whether it's on the lips or on my face or whatever, but she still kind of shuns it and goes to the side. And I realised there was like deep programming in her to how she showed up to show what love is, and there's different types of love, we know, and parental love is very different to these deep loves. However, it's not so different in that it's unconditional. So the first unconditional love you'll receive in life is, or should be, from your parents, and the male and the female. And that's why we reflect back to how, or what we were taught from them when we meet our divine partner, because that's an unconditional love. From your parents to meeting your divine partner in that God, beautiful divine love that you've come in with together, you will experience conditioned love with all the others. You won't experience unconditional love. But when that unconditional love hits you out of the blue, when you meet that divine partner, you automatically, you'll resort back to showing up in love the way you were taught love by your parents. So when we need to really look back at our relationships then that we had with our mother and our father, or our guardians that raised us, and how they taught us love to be. So it's a different love, obviously, in a romantic love to a parent love. However, it's still an unconditional love. And so I realised when I look at my mum's mum, my grandmother, she was the same as my mum. They were very much alike. And whenever I was around my grandma, again, she wasn't very affectionate. She was beautiful and I knew she loved me and she'd talk to me and spend time with me, but she wasn't very affectionate in giving lots of hugs or cuddles or anything like that. In fact, she really kind of pulled away from it because she wasn't shown that. And then I watched her and her husband interact, my grandfather, and I don't even remember to this day. I'm not saying they didn't, but I just don't remember ever seeing them hugging each other. I don't ever remember seeing them kiss or just give each other a kiss, goodbye or hello, or, and growing up as a child, I used to spend holidays there, and, and even at night time, or, and all I knew is, like, from as old as I knew, they slept even in separate bedrooms. Not because they didn't love each other, but because my grandfather had had a stroke, and for whatever reason, he slept in a different bed. Now, I'm not going to go into that. I don't really even care or choose to wonder why that was the case, but that's what I saw. My mum and dad were soulmates, so they didn't. But my dad was always trying to be more affectionate with my mum in front of us, and my mum would like push it away because she would be a bit more prudish. She'd be like, "Oh, don't do that in front of the kids," or "Don't don't say that, or, don't come and make out with me in front of the kids or anything like that. Like, we never saw that ever. And so when I think back to the love that was taught to me, it was loving in other ways, but to then be opened to a deep love and have to show up in my feminine energy and femininity as a full expression of that deep love, I had no idea how to. When my masculine was there in front of me, and obviously what he needed from me was to show up and to show him love, to show him how much I loved him, to show him the love, to show him the connection, to be open and not blocking it, and to be open to show him through whether it's actions or words, energy. Obviously it's all energy, but in that physical. And I couldn't. I realise now I thought I was, but when I look back, I was kind of showing up how my mother probably would have showed up. I showed up as a strong, independent woman, somebody that, I was a divorced single mum, owned my own home, or had a mortgage, but I was in my own home. I had 2 jobs. See, same sort of pattern, except my mum wasn't a divorced single mum, but I came with strength, and I came with that, I came with the more masculine energy from in a feminine body. And although I opened and shared my heart and my soul, which surprised me that I did, I shared things that I hadn't shared with anyone else in my life. But I know now that I couldn't show up, or didn't show up, the way that deep connection requires you to show up, because I didn't and wasn't taught. I didn't have that connection to myself, and I wasn't taught that deep love. So we all know when we learn and do our inner work that we're only the makings of what we've been taught from our parents, from our guardians, grandparents, down the ancestry line, whatever. And my other grandparents on the other side, all I saw from them, I didn't see, even though they loved each other, it didn't appear to me that there was great love. What I saw is my grandmother being like more hounded, more controlled by my grandfather, more you do what I say and this is what we're doing. And it was that old, I know it was that era and that time, but it was definitely that old paradigm where the male ruled, and what he said or how he spoke. That's why my grandfather and I, that particular one, didn't get along at all, because I spoke I was kind of very conscious and connected and wise as from a young child, and I spoke my piece, and he didn't like that. So several times I was always getting into trouble because I spoke up, and he was one that many times said children should be seen and not heard, which damaged me very much, which I won't go into that, but it damages a lot of children when that's said. And it's a very different conscious way of parenting these days, but back then our parents were different, and they only knew from what they had been taught. And I've been able to learn to forgive my grandfather, for what has transpired, because of the type of person he was. And he had been in the war, so he had, wounding from the war and all sorts of things. So I've passed through that forgiveness a long time ago. But when you look at your parents and look at your grandparents and look at the relationships you've had with that mother and father energy that is an unconditional energy, and ask yourself, wow, how deep was I able to go in my feminine role and provide that to my masculine? And if you're a male listening to this, you still have feminine energy. So look at how you showed up with how you show up through what your mother and grandmother are like. Are they like loving and protective, but are they very like more, are they more prudish? Are they more like they don't express it? Are they more like you don't really know what's in their inner soul and heart? Or are they hip? Or like my mum wasn't, bless her heart, she's so gorgeous, but she wasn't hip at all. She was more on the old-fashioned side, I suppose you could say. So look at your mother, like how was she carefree and easygoing and connecting and talking to you and open and conscious, something more like maybe a hippie mum would be, or just someone that's more in touch with their youth and their own inner child? Or was she somebody that showed you love and protected, but was like, I'm the parent and, I'm not showing you inside me. I'm not showing you a different side of me. Like, I don't want you coming and kissing me all over the face. I don't want you hugging me up. I don't want, So I'm not saying that they weren't great parents, but you've got to look at what was shown to you, and then that's how you reflect, oh, okay, well, this is how I do it, because we start to get a subconscious program that anything else is wrong or anything else is bad. So for me, for me to show up as a feminine, like with a man, I used to be more reserved, because I even had someone say to me one day, it wasn't my divine partner, it was someone else that said to me, it feels like no matter how far I try and get to you or reach you, you have this wall up. And I'm like, oh, have I? I didn't even realize I did. And he said, yeah, you do. And that was, I'm grateful now looking back, I see Spirit, that was from Spirit to tell me that, I wasn't connected to myself. Wasn't connected to my heart and my soul in the way I thought I was. I wasn't in that deeper connection. And these are deep divine connections. And like I've said before, we can only experience them as deep as we can go within our connection to ourselves and open to receive that depth of love and connection, that we have in ourselves. So I know a lot of, like everyone in the world out there has some type of wounding from childhood. And that's why we do, like we heal ourselves and we learn and we grow and we evolve and we assess and we look and we things show up in triggers and different ways. So I just wanted to share that, because I thought it's interesting that you could maybe, to go deeper into yourself, to open up to deeper love, maybe look at your parents and where they didn't show you that deeper love, and where you've created stories, in your narrative that's in your subconscious, your holographic field, that show you, oh, I can't express love like this because it's wrong, or I can't go deeper in love like that because of X, Y, Z. And then remove that story, remove that energy, and just know that that was how they did it for their own reasons. But you're not like that. Thank them for what they taught you to that point, and now move on and let's say, I am ready to open to bigger and better. I'm the next generation that is bringing divine love into this world. And particularly for those of us that have come with, these roles on the planet in ways to, as leaders and forerunners, to bring in this divine new earth template of love, this new earth love, we have to go deeper. We have to go deeper and access that. We have to walk the talk, not just talk the talk. We have to be it, embody it, embrace it, and show it and shine it, so that it helps others see that and find that in themselves. So I'm going to leave it there. I love you again. And I hope you enjoyed that and take what you will from that. And I'm going to peace out for today, I think. I love you. I'm going to do a little bit of a meditation, and let's all, when we meditate, the next time you do, go into that deeper love and ask your higher self to show you and tell you where and why, you could be blocking yourself, and how to go deeper into showing up with deeper love, and not being afraid to express that, not being afraid to share that and show that, and express that deeper emotional level of beautiful, beautiful love without self-judgment. Okay. Love you guys. Take care. Till next time. Peace out. Mwah. Love you.